38 million people are traveling this Memorial Day weekend to kick off the unofficial start to summer, and about 35 million of those hitting the road. We'll take a look at some traffic cameras in Ohio, California, New Jersey. As for those who are flying, this is the first big test of the summer season for the TSA. Travelers, well, they've had to deal with super long security lines lately, but so far today, things seem to be running pretty smoothly at most major airports, but the big question still remains. Will the TSA be able to handle the massive crowds that'll descend on the airports all summer long? Kris van Cleave is in Washington. Kris, why are we seeing such huge numbers of drivers this week? And I thought it would be the airports, but it doesn't seem to necessarily be the case, huh?
Well, Memorial Day has always been a big drivers weekend. We're seeing more this year in part because gas prices are low and the economy has gotten steadily better. So people feel more comfortable taking a long weekend trip somewhere, and it's cheap to drive. So that's why I think you're seeing so many people hitting the road, and the increase from last year. Gas prices are down compared to last year, and that makes it a friendlier weekend to get in the car and drive somewhere.
Well, the TSA, we know, is making big changes. They're hiring more screeners. They want to keep these lines moving. But how soon will it be, Kris, before passengers can actually feel the difference, especially as the crowds get larger during the summer?
Well, you know, the TSA is saying they are seeing improvements at some of the troubled airports already. And think back to Chicago O'Hare last week and the week before that, where you were seeing wait times up to 2 hours or more. That was down to as little as 15 minutes for much of the day on Thursday at Chicago O'Hare. Of course, they've had a lot of resources put into that airport. The TSA says 90% of travelers are spending less than a half hour in line, although they expect those numbers to be a little bit longer this weekend as more people are traveling. So at least in the areas where the TSA has really targeted and driven resources, they've seen improvements right away. But it's really largely a staffing issue. So it's how quickly can you get the number of people you need to some of these airports. And that's happening through this surge in staffing. They're trying to hire nearly 800 screeners and have them on the job by June 15th. They've been redeploying screeners. They've taken 150 from smaller airports and moved them to busier airports. And I know 150 doesn't sound like a whole lot, but it takes about 2 TSA officers to staff a security line at any one time. And if that line's running well, you can do 2 passengers a minute. That's 120 passengers an hour. So every little bit helps there. The other thing that you're looking at is you're talking about checked bag revenue here, and that's been one of the big debates is what the bag fees, what does that play in to all of this, and is that creating some of the delays? And the airlines have pushed back pretty hard with that, pointing out that some 40,000 checked bags have missed flights. That's American Airlines saying that 40,000 checked bags missed flights this year, and 70,000 plus of their customers have missed flights because of TSA screening delays. So and we heard JetBlue's CEO tell us yesterday on CBS This Morning, whether the bags are going on the plane in the cabin or underneath, they still have to be screened, and if they're not getting onto the plane, that would seem to indicate there's a staffing shortage across the board there. So, more work to be done, but the TSA is now asking that Congress allow them to use another $28 million of money to fund making nearly 3,000 screeners full-time instead of part-time, and they say that will help with up to 80,000 people a day in the screening line.
Nothing drives me nuts, Kris, than not having my stroller bag or car seat bag arrive at my final destination.
Yeah, not having the stroller is a big problem.
It's a big problem. They're usually pretty good about it, but good to know there's a bit of a cash infusion and they're moving things along. Kris van Cleave in our Washington bureau. Kris, thank you.
Sure thing.